welcome to the God is a Geek Sick Cast. My name is Adam Cook, and you can probably hear from my nasal timbre. I can't even roll my tongue, Chris. Why? I can't do it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm trying. No, Chris and I are both sick, but that does not mean you're not going to get. I'm just going to right out the gate say a damn fine podcast. Because it's just Chris and I. Did I even say my name? I'm not sure it matters this week because cough mixture. But I'm going to apologise obviously in advance because as we're both a bit poorly, we might cough and there might be some sort of spluttering and general sniffing. And I want you to know we're not doing cocaine this time. It's just the colds. But Chris, apart from being poorly, how are you?
I am good, mate. I am actually on holiday this week from work.
Oh, so, awesome!
I may be ill, but at least I'm not having to go to work as well. So I'm doing good. I've had a. Do you know what? Since we've been talking recently about having a lull, there's been a few games I have played which have kind of brought me back from the brink a little bit. So we're going to talk about them today. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, and just to not that this is some sort of my dad's bigger than yours, but just to back up what you said there, I got sick the day before my birthday, so that was
shit.
Yeah. But let's talk about games, Chris, because they have the power to lift us up where we belong. As that doesn't link to this game at all, but back song. When PlayStation, it's a song. It is a song. That's definitely one of those words I agree with. Back when the PSVR or PlayStation Virtual Reality came out, there was PlayStation. Was it? Oh, what was it called? VR Worlds.
PSVR
I
Worlds,
think it was called. Yeah, and it had loads of basically tech demos, but substantial tech demos. A lot of them were kind of cool. One of them I played that I thought this could be good, but it needs a bit of work, was, I think it was called London the Heist, and it was kind of funny because there was all these, governor, copy accents and all that fucking malarkey. And that studio then have been kind of broken out to make their own big, full PlayStation VR game, Blood and Truth. I haven't played it yet. I have it installed. I don't really want to stick the VR headset on when I feel this grotty. But Chris, you have played and reviewed it and give it as... I thought, I wonder what score this will get, if you know what I mean. And then you gave it an 8, and then once I've seen your score, obviously we edit the reviews, and then you see other scores go up as well at the embargo point, and kind of everyone's there really with it. And well, Chris, what is it for starters?
So it's kind of more of the same. So that kind of set the groundworks of what could be possible in VR on the PlayStation. So it's kind of ran with that, but done so much more with it. I think one of the main things with me when I play a game that is a first person on the VR is the movement, because I've reviewed games. Name can't remember, but it was like first person. It was by Supermassive, the shooter one, the army one, where you teleport between different points and you have to duck, and it's very disorientating because you're not moving as you would in real life. So the kind of the main type of movement is you do focus on certain spots and you move to them, but you move kind of in real time to them. You don't. Sometimes you kind of run, sometimes you don't, but you move in real time. So it feels very natural as it can be for when you're not using the left stick to move yourself around 360 wherever you want. And it is very much a cover shooter with certain points, but the kind of the gun control, for me anyway,
Bravo
was
team, by the way. Sorry.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, bravo team. The movement is excellent, and the kind of when you're in cover, there's plenty of kind of ways to shoot your enemy down, and you do I don't know if you've seen the advert where that guy's it's really mental. This guy in his living room's jumping behind the sofas and bollocks like that. It's not quite that extravagant. However, you are doing a hell of a lot for just saying you're sitting down on the sofa. Obviously, you have to duck behind things, so you are doing that. You're pointing both your guns at people. You're climbing up things. You're jumping through things. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. But the kind of gun controllers where it's at is you've got your two move controllers, and you can actually use a controller. But I would advise strongly against it because say I'm shooting someone, I'm doing what I normally am with the right stick and pulling the trigger button, and then I put my gun away and then I have to climb something. I can't use both my hands to climb, so I have to hold one control in my left hand to move my arm up this ladder, which so it looks a bit stupid. It's a lot easier just to kind of use the move controllers. So you say you're taking out like 4 or 5 enemies. You've got your pistols, which you get different guns as you go on, but you start off with like 2 9mm. So you can holster one of them to start with, then you get a second one, so you can pull them out any time, and to kind of refill your ammo, you go to your chest and you pull out some ammo and just shove it into your barrel. Like, it feels very natural. And then if you want to take out kind of a more protected enemy, you can find shotguns, you can find semi-automatics, you can find sniper rifles. There's a lot of different weaponry you can take advantage of.
How does it work with? I mean, first of all, let's just get this out of the way. That any game that lets you whip your piece out or whip out your piece is always is good in my book. But in terms of like an AK-47, a gun that you hold with 2 hands, for example.
Yeah.
How does it handle that? Because obviously Sony got their aim controller that they did Farpoint with, but I don't know if this supports that. But let's just assume it doesn't matter if it does or not, because you're playing with 2 moves.
Yeah.
How does it handle a gun that you have to grasp with 2 hands?
So it's very good, to be honest. So you say you've got your machine gun, you hold in it with the right arm, and then if you kind of click your left hand onto it and you hold it like you would do in real life, you look through the sight. It's very responsive.
Okay.
And it also gives you a lot more control. So when you're shooting this assault rifle with one arm, it's kind of, it bolts all over the place. So you need to kind of hold them sometimes, because otherwise you're not going to get decent accuracy on it. Just because the recoil was quite bad. So it handles it very well. It's the same with shotguns. You can hold the bottom of the gun and the front, so you can support the barrel. Yeah, so it's very good. And then kind of when there's no shooting going on, there's a lot of kind of mini puzzles where you've got to unlock a fuse box, take out the fuse, replace it with a new one, cut some wires. There's times when you have to set C4 bombs up, and it follows a very kind of unique pattern. You have to kind of do each process of it. So it's not just pull something out, put it on something and press a button. You have to do all the intricate kind of motions to follow that through. There's lock picking as well, where you're using both hands with the lock. So it's quite good. The only kind of thing is that you have to put both guns away to be able to use the tools. You can't just put one gun away, hold one just in case anything comes, and then do it that way. But to be fair, nothing ever really happens when you're trying to do one of these things, so it's not a massive issue. How's
the story? Is it still the kind of cheeky Cockney geezer kind of? I know they got actors in, didn't they? Like there's
yeah. You know what? The acting's all right. The acting's quite good. It's very like Guy Ritchie, especially Lock, Stock. But it's got a bit more of a serious tone to it. But there's a lot of death. Like there's a lot of kind of twist within the story where expected people to die that do and stuff like that. And it's quite hefty, to be honest. The story, I wasn't expecting to be as long as it was. Is it a long?
Yeah, I was going to say, how long is it then?
It's not like massive. To be honest, I would 7 or 8. I think.
Wow. Okay.
I think I was on it for a long time, and then you've got like in between all the shooting and all this lockpicking and stuff, there are little things thrown in that just make it a bit more interesting. Like there's a scene right at the start where you're running over the rooftops in some Middle Eastern war-torn town, and the movement's taken away from you completely. You're just running, and then that gives you freedom to not worry about moving, but shooting as you run through these rooftops. So guards keep appearing, and you're shooting at both angles, and you've got your arms pointed out. And
that doesn't give you motion sickness or anything when your locomotion's taken away?
I don't really suffer from motion sickness in video games in VR, so it didn't bother me. And there are other moments where you go into this art gallery and you have to go and kind of vandalise these paintings, and you're with your brother, and he gives you a tin of spray paint, and he's like, "Right, do what you want to that." So I say in the review,
drew a cock.
Naturally, I drew a cock, and he was like, I know what you're drawing. Like, it's very funny, very smart. And it just loads of little bits like that. Yeah, they do. But it's probably the best use of VR for that kind of game that I've seen on the PSVR, and it's yet again another successful release.
Yeah,
we're starting to get, like this last year, we started to get a lot of good VR games that aren't just experiences; they're more actual games that don't fill an hour; they fill your time properly. So yeah, I certainly enjoyed it.
I mean, like, one thing I'm keen to take a look at, which we will definitely do at some point, is whether we get hold of an Oculus Quest, because I want to have a look at one of those things, and I kind of want to see what it's like. I want to go and stand in a whacking great field and play Super Hot VR and see, knowing the complete lack of cables, But we will. I mean, it'll be after E3 now probably, but I definitely want to have a look at the Oculus Quest. But Chris, it's interesting you mentioned an art gallery there, because in an art gallery, when you're not drawing cocks on paintings, there's what would you be doing?
I'd be observing.
Would you be observing things? Would you?
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah, I would.
So you would be
in a state of observation.
I see it didn't quite work how I wanted it to, but Observation is a game I've seen a lot of. Obviously, again, another cracking game by your review, and again by everyone's reviews. Everything I see of this game, it intrigues me more, while at the same time I feel like screenshots and videos don't quite do justice what it is, because I can't quite work out where the game and the UI end and begin, and that's kind of cool.
Oh, it's very cool. Like, it's a very good video game.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, like I said, this was the first game I kind of played where I started to be more confident of this year and what's to come, because I haven't played a game like this myself. There's a hell of a lot of these first-person narratives and these walking simulators or whatever you want to call them. But the difference is you spend a lot of this game not moving in the standard sense of the word. Like, you are not a person, you are this ship's AI. So you're a computer, essentially. And there are points where you take hold of this sphere, which is like a movable camera that can also do the things you can do when you're in the ship, but you can move around in it, so it does allow you to move around the ship and move outside in the darkness and bleakness of space. But the main gist of it is that there's a female on this spaceship. Her crew appear to be dead. She doesn't know what's going on. However, there's something not quite right about you as the AI. There's something weird, and these messages keep popping up on screen, which are very kind of eerie and unnerving, and you've got no idea what's cracking off. But the kind of gameplay it's a mixture of all sorts of things. Like, there's a menu which allows you to jump between different parts of the ship, so different rooms. It's like picking cameras in Five Nights at Freddy's, where you can kind of move to one room and look through there. And then when you're in a room, you can skip between the different cameras, which give you a different viewpoint of the room. You can do a system link to then have the ability to open hatches or airlocks, or hack into laptops to gain schematics for then doing other things within the ship, and unlocking a whole manner of things, or containing the ship's energy with certain missions. It all it plays out. You've got specific missions, and it never kind of leaves you alone to go, right, just go and explore the ship. But not that you really need to, because it would just be a very long line of switching cameras and whatnot. So the story tethers it all together very nicely, and it's great. Like, I've just not played anything like it, and the kind of atmosphere, it's not a horror per se. It's more of a thriller, and it reminds, like 2001: A Space Odyssey is a clear inspiration for this.
Well, I got
with the AI.
Vibes of, like, and I think maybe I'm wrong, but the vibe I've got from some of the video I've seen was like Tacoma. But I don't. I hate saying stuff like this, but maybe a bit more involved. I hate myself for saying that, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it is. It's you are part of this story, and you're very tightly woven into it. Even though you are just a ship, like, you play a vital role in this crew's survival and this female's future. So you are very involved both in the story and in the gameplay. And, like, there are certain elements where you can kind of mess things up on purpose. So you kind of play into that devious character that you appear to be becoming.
Right.
So it's just very smart, and like if you fuck up, like so there's the point where you're putting a passcode in. If you forget the passcode or don't input it correctly, then she starts shouting at you and like saying things like, "What are you doing? Why aren't you doing it right? You're an AI. You should be able to do this." And like it creates tension where it could have just not been there. It's just loads of little smart moments and stuff like that make this really kind of special. Like I really enjoyed it, and I think people that are looking for love a bit of sci-fi and want something a bit different, then this does it. You know, it's a very clever game.
And it's set in space, you say?
Yeah, set in space. Best setting there is. So,
I mean, what would?
Fucking hell.
I may be ill, mate, but I'm not going to miss the opportunity. I mean, what would you say? Like, there's another name for this. They call it the Great.
Oh, they call it the Void.
They do call it the Void. Obviously, I'm glad you said it because I realised halfway through that segue that I could get you to Void, but how are we going to get to Void? Well, Void Bastards or Bastards.
Void Bastards.
I'd like to think that the people who, I mean, they're not because I think they're from the States because it's guys who worked on BioShock. I think they're called Blue Manchu, the developer.
Blue Manchu, yeah.
It's come to Games Pass and on PC as well, so Xbox One and PC. And I really want to believe that the intention of the name is to be said in the northern accent, because from down south, if I say Void Bastards, whereas if you say the name of the game, Chris...
Yeah, Void Bastards.
That is just 10 times better. It's just a word that's better with a northern accent. And also, judging by some of the voiceover in this game, I think... Because, like, we will get to what it is in a minute, but the voiceover from, like, the Juvies...
Yeah.
You fucking dickhead! Like they're Mancunians, like shouting abuse at you. It's a game set in space. It's a roguelike, and that's a dirty word, right? It's a dirty phrase to say roguelike. But the thing is, that's because there's so many of them. But what they're on is so like there's lots of them, but now and again there's one like a Spelunky that is just really good. And it does stand above the others. And I personally think Void Bastards is one of them. And judging by your review, I think you probably agree.
Yeah, I mean, it is a roguelike, but it never really feels that way. Like, yes, you do, when you do die, you do go back to the start. But the kind of what is involved, it's very like a deep kind of progression as well.
It's more like Rogue Legacy. Was it Rogue Legacy on PS?
Rogue Legacy, yeah.
Where like your character re-rolls, but your items and stuff you've crafted continue, and your passive stuff, like once you've upgraded your health, you know.
Yeah, so you are left with the items that the person that died before had gotten to the point of their death. So you are travelling through the Sargasso Nebula, I believe it's called.
Well done.
And you go from ship to ship, trying to survive, basically.
Survive and loot,
stuff.
Yeah.
Survive and loot. But it's not a painfully kind of survival game where you need to eat every 5 seconds.
It's quite simplistic, isn't it? Like I was quite surprised. Like I read your review and I was like, I wanted to play it anyway just because of the developer pedigree. We should say we've glossed over the fact that it looks awesome. Like it's completely styled on a graphic novel. I haven't seen a lot of people talking about how much it commits to that. So, like, in the menus and stuff, you're like in a comic book, but it's only when you die and you get like a new prisoner to control, when their little profile appears in the top left, it kind of stays there through the menus until you're actually playing the first person bits. But I was a bit surprised by, like, when I first started playing it, I kind of expected like aim down sights. You know, it's a first person shooter.
Yeah,
but it's not that kind of shooter. It's kind of more Doom, but also
very much
but not quite as good as that. But there is a premium on ammo. Like, you know, I tried out. I hadn't at one point. I hadn't tried out the shotgun I crafted. And I was like, I'm just going to try this bloody thing out, and it's awesome. It kills everything in one shot. But then I literally blasted through all the ammo in one level, and that was it. I didn't get any more shotgun ammo for quite a while, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It teaches you not to waste your bullets. And there are ways to kind of, excuse me, get your bullets back. Like, there's certain ships which act as shops.
Yeah.
And you can go and buy more ammo. But there's also, like, a thing you can craft that locates bullets for you on certain ships. So,
yeah,
it does give you a lot to help you out on your journey. But you can only craft things with certain items, and certain items are only available on certain ships. So you have to think about the risk and reward of everything you do. Like, travelling further afield costs more food,
and fuel,
and more fuel. So you need to visit the ships to be able to find food and fuel on them. So each ship has a different kind of level of difficulty. There can be a lot of one type of enemy on one and none of another on the same ship, or you might find there are no enemies at all other than a boss. So it's whether you want to risk it. And I mean, some of these bosses are pretty difficult. And then there are other kind of things like ships, when you get on them, they don't have any power, which means the doors don't work. So
you have to smoke everywhere, or oil slicks.
Yeah, you have to find different ways around the map. So it is a strategy game, as they say. Like, they call it a strategy shooter. It's very much so.
It's cool because, like, again, with the comic book aesthetic, they kind of go all the way. So say you're stood at a door about to open it and there's an enemy the other side, but you can't see them, like, as if it's kind of like Batman, you know, like wham, bang, and all this. Like, you'll see, like, you'll hear like a, you know, noise, but you'll also see tap, 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 and oh, tap, 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 that's a juvie. You know, I think it is, isn't it? Or is that a janitor?
Yeah.
But either way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's a different thing for each character, and it's just, although, like, it's kind of repetitive, but there's always, like, there's the sort of the meta of constantly trying to find items and craft things, but there's also more of an overarching meta where, like, you are trying to craft a quest item as you progress. Like, the first one is to get an ID card, and I did that, and I really like I don't want to say cut scene, but it is a transition scene. I think they're clever. It's clever. It's quite witty in a way that, at first glance, you know, you kind of look at it as kind of profane and a bit sort of almost laddie, like with, like, say, the sort of almost Britpop style Noel or Liam Gallagher shouting, "You wanker!" You know what I mean? As they come in there, "You fuck off, dickhead!" Yeah, they're going, and you kind of sort of go, "Oh, is this a bit laddish?" And then, like, you know, you realise when you see these scenes that it's actually quite clever, it's intelligently done, and. I'll be honest, I've played a little bit of it, and I think this is going to creep onto my top 10 of the year, because I do like the genre I like roguelikes, but as I say, what bothers me is that everyone says they're overdone. What I find is that yes, that isn't a lie, but also, what was the last great one? Do you know what I mean? Like, Rogue Legacy's excellent. You know, Spelunky is one of the best games of all time. You know what I mean? Like, they can be transcendent, and I think, again, slightly early days for me, but I think it's, you know, again, and, like, not to go on about Game Pass, because we haven't for a while, but, like, wow, like, this is what a game to just get for free. You know, not for free, but, you know. Yeah.
It's certainly worth, you know, if you have got a Game Pass, get on this straight away.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say
even
PC,
if you like, I mean, if you're not familiar with these kind of roguelikes, then get on it, because it's a great place to start. Just because, like,
I think it explains itself really well as well. It's fun looking and it sounds great, but I actually think it explains itself really well, and like, you'll know quite quickly if you're in or not. And I find it's actually got moments of, not survival horror, but there are moments where you suddenly look at your health and you go, holy shit, I really don't want to die and lose this stuff. I want to get back. Yeah. And, you know, you think,
and your oxygen as well.
Oxygen's depleting.
Ship, you've only got a limited amount of time with the oxygen. So there are, like, places to restock your oxygen, but each ship only has a certain amount as well. So,
and each convict you play has a trait. Yeah. Like, one of them will be like, I've seen one where it's like, coughs every now and again, so it gives you position away. Or like, one I had was like, when crouching, I think it was like, you're really small, so when you're crouching behind windows, you can't be seen. That sort of stuff. And you can actually go to gene booths on certain ships and You can remove some of those traits or add new ones. Like you can add a positive trait that means you don't slip on oil slicks, or there's a lot to it, but also it presents itself in a very simplistic manner. You know, I really, really like this game. Like it's the only thing that's stopped me playing Dishonored 2 at the moment. Like I had sort of 45 minutes yesterday, and rather than doing a bit of Dishonored, I went and played Void Bastards because like that game's a special one, I think.
Yeah, no, it is definitely.
Speaking of special games, we are in that vacuum, sort of pre-E3, and last week, as we record this, kind of everyone put like these huge things out. Like, so we're gonna just have a chat about a couple of them. Probably the weirdest one is that like Sony aren't at E3, but they were teasing Death Stranding, and they then revealed a 9-minute trailer, which kind of reveals the full voice cast. I actually think I saw a lot of people going, "Great, another 9 minutes," and I still don't know what game it is. I actually think they have shown what the game is now. Yeah. I really do. It's out. Is it November 8th or October 8th?
Yeah, November.
Yeah, and I get it. I was one of those that was like, look, enough now, show the game. But like, I kind of think, as someone who's been a critic of his work and as someone who's been a critic of the way this game has been marketed, this has kind of shut me up because they've not only gone, oh, by the way, fuck you, it's out this year, which is like, wow, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I think they've shown what this game is now. I think I'd put it on Twitter, and it's a bit of a facetious way to say it, but it looks like a Metal Gear Solid game. It's a third person. It looks like Metal Gear Solid 5, I should say. Like it's a third-person game. It's got combat. There's but it looks like a big open world. I worry that they've shown an awful lot of cutscenes, but then I forget it's Kojima, so there's probably at least 4 more hours. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like from the new trailer, like. It doesn't show you a lot about what it's about, but at the end of the day, why does everyone want to know everything about a game before it's released? Like in that trailer, it shows you a lot of gaplay elements, which look really
some weird
cool.
shit like that ladder. Like
that ladder's amazing. Like and the fact that they're using the same engine they did for Horizon.
Yeah.
Like that world looks amazing. It reminds me a lot of like Prometheus. That the kind of planet they land on in that is. It's very kind of. There's a lot of green, but it's very misty, and there's a hell of a lot of weird shit going on. But I love Kojima's most of Kojima's work. Like I'm not maybe the person, I don't know, but in terms of Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, they are 5 of my favourite games of all time. They're up there, especially the first Metal Gear. That kind of just changed my life in terms of.
But can we discuss just for a minute the names of some of these characters? So I think Kojima has issues with women. Like the 2 women, the main women that they showed were Fragile. Was it Fragile? Yeah, Fragile and Mama.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, mate. Okay, but. On the flip side, Die Hardman or Die Hard Man. Like I don't know what it is, but to me it's Die Hardman because it can't be Die Hard Man. It just
Die Hardman.
So like the thing that worries me, I know there's a school of thought that's like with Kojima, the best thing you could ever hope for is he's been given basically all the money in the world and to do whatever the fuck he wants. But to me, I think that guy does need an editor. I think, and I think it's proven that when he calls a character Die Hardman.
It's an odd choice, but
and like, does he just want Mads Mikkelsen to be in a porno? Because it's a bit icky already. But like, I mean, judgment withheld because we haven't played it. No one's fucking played it. Like. Well, he's probably played it, and they've all played it, and they're all telling us how great it is, I'm sure. But like, I mean, there's not a lot to go on, and I think there's enough to go on. I kind of the opinion now that I don't really need to sit anymore until it comes out.
No, I'm refraining. I'm just waiting until we get it and just enjoy it because I know I'll enjoy it. Like, there's no doubt about it.
I'm sure it'll be a good game.
I can't wait. But I can't wait for the story. It's just
the thing,
mental.
Though. What are people like? Well, I wonder what expectations are now for this, because
I think I don't have any. Like, I know what he's done before. I know how bonkers it seems. And also, a lot of the Metal Gear games, for some of the clarity involved in them, there's also a hell of a lot of bollocks. But
that is an understatement, to say the least.
Yeah, but I don't care. I love them so much, and
that's fine.
even if this, the story isn't great, and I think I'm still going to go with open mind because of who's made it, and I'm very kind of excited at the prospect that they have gone to him. Look, make whatever you want. That prospect to me is amazing. Like, it can either be the best game ever or the worst game ever, and that's very exciting because we don't get that a lot. The whole story of Death Stranding and how it came to be is like a future Netflix series. You know what I mean? It's very
Black Mirror,
interesting. Yeah, and like with the whole Konami fallout and everything there, just it's led to this.
Yeah.
Like, but even just everything about it, like it's going to be interesting.
But what's with the babies,
people are going to talk about it.
I've got a question for you, right? I don't know if you've noticed this, but Kojima likes people. I think he thinks smoking is super cool. You think of like the 80s rockers and that, like smoking is kind of like, like think of Slash almost.
Yeah.
Do you think that one of them babies is going to smoke a cigarette at some point?
No, I think they'll vape, mate.
Mate, do you know what? Actually, no, I'm with you, because like he's talking about the politics of it and how we're held together by the strand, but we're all separate, and it's a statement about how disconnected people are or whatever. It would actually be in keeping with that to say that the babies are future babies and they vape because we don't even go outside and have a smoke together anymore.
Or maybe they've got like implanted stuff into the DNA that they vape using the moisture in the atmosphere. I don't know, and they breathe out vape anyway because that's kind of what it is.
Norman Reedus' backpack as well. Like, can we talk about the size of that thing?
Yeah, he's probably fucking strong. He's going to have a
sciatica in the making, mate. It really is.
Yeah, it is. He's going to suffer for that, but Godspeed, Norman.
Do you know, I wouldn't have given a shit, actually, if I'm honest, about this game, but I will say I am curious to see how long it is, if there's a coherent story, because I think this game there's a real risk that Kojima could veer into David Cage territory with his bollocks, especially if he's not been reined in at all. But we'll see. It's out this year, November, a month after another game that got announced properly this past week, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. That's the name of the video game, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Have you seen the trailer, Chris? What did you think, if you have?
Unfortunately, I have not seen the trailer. I saw the name and thought, and then I just haven't bothered with it. So I don't know what it is.
So I'm all in. I think this looks phenomenal. It's apparently a new engine they've been developing especially for the series.
Okay.
It looks unreal, and the reports of people who have seen and played it are basically saying, like, do you remember the level No Russian where you shoot up the airport?
Yeah.
They're basically saying it's like, this is like No Russian the game. It's that dark.
Jesus.
No, but I'm well up for a Call of Duty saying, we're going to do this. We're going to deliver a proper dark story. We don't know an awful lot more. We know that they're aiming for cross-plat between PC and consoles, and we don't know yet about PS4 and Xbox One, but I'd imagine they're aiming for it, which would be fantastic. It does look like unbelievable. I urge people, even if you're not interested in the series, to go and have a look. I don't know. I mean, people are sort of like, oh, bloody hell, they're remaking it or rebooting it. But, like, I don't know where else. Where would they go? What direction? Well, you'd like to think there's more creativity than just do that again.
You would, but then people have got no problem with 50-plus Marvel films and 30 of the sequels to the same horror film. Like, some things are just supposed to be enjoyed for the entertainment. Don't think into things too much. It's not not spending hours making the game. No, just try and enjoy it when it's there.
Well, that's out in October. I play Call of Duty every year, and I'm glad to see the single player back. I'm glad to see this game there leading with the single player as well. Very, very much looking forward to that. Like, it's got is it Captain Price, the mustache guy? Is it Price, the mustache guy? Yeah, he's in it. So
amazing.
We're not. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if it's a remake or a reboot, or if he's like their... I don't know, he appears in every Modern Warfare game now, because he kind of didn't he?
Yeah.
I'm well up for them doing a real dark, kind of gritty Call of Duty story in Modern Warfare. And,
Cool.
Square Enix, then. I've been doing a bit of business, apparently, because not only have they announced that rather than Warner Brothers, it will be Square Enix that are going to be publishing or distributing, I'm not sure which, Dying Light 2. Because I was wondering about their press conference at E3. Like, they don't tend to have any games, and then all of a sudden they've announced this was Dying Light 2, so we know that will be there. And we now know that probably a game that has the potential to be the biggest game anywhere ever, Square Enix's Marvel's Avengers. They've said, basically, hey, yep, we haven't forgotten, we're still doing it. Now, there's a lot to think about here, because part of me wonders why they revealed it so early, because it felt too early, because then they went dark on it. But part of me also wonders if the plan was we need to wait until Marvel Phase... Is it 2 or 3 we've just finished?
3.
Yeah, Marvel Phase 3 finished so we can, get into it. But beyond that, there are some worrying things coming out about it. Because I was kind of hoping, given that it's from the people who rebooted Tomb Raider, it was going to be that kind of game or thereabouts. And it's like, I'm absolutely up for them making a game where, I don't know, maybe you go from one Avenger to another Avenger playing through a story. Like, I would be, in the same way that Rocksteady did for the Batman games. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah.
But according to Metro, the description of an E3 panel about the game it's described it as follows. This is the defining Avengers gaming experience, an epic action-adventure that combines cinematic storytelling, good so far, right?
Yeah.
Single-player and cooperative gameplay. Again, this is sounding good. But assemble, well done, in teams of up to 4 players. Mastering extraordinary abilities, customize your heroes to fit your playstyle, and combine powers to defend an ever-expanding world under constant threat. So that game starts off sounding like the Tomb Raider reboots, and by the end of that description, I'm left thinking that sounds like Destiny or The Division, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just assumed it'd be, like you said, a similar kind of idea to Tomb Raider, but Avengers. I don't know. Look,
if they get it right, but again, the fact it says customize your heroes. Well, we know what Marvel or Disney so much are like with their properties. Like, we all heard about the supposed stuff with EA and Star Wars and how it was like, no, you can't do this, you can't sell this, you can't do that cosmetic stuff because that doesn't fit the canon. And what worries me about this is that rather than getting a video game where you, me, Mick and Nicola can play as Spider-Man, Cap, Thor and, I don't know, Black Panther, where we can customize our outfits, what we're actually getting is a game... Do you remember, like, DC Universe Online, where you can create your own superhero who's kind of like Spider-Man because he uses Spider-Man's powers?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if they're going... Because I don't know whether it's based on the MCU or the comics at the minute.
So I would have to assume, and it is an assumption, I would have to assume it's the MCU, mate. Wouldn't you?
Right, so
I
if
just
they
can't
do that,
see how
then...
they would not, given the popularity, the cash cow nature.
The thing is, if you go down that route, you are going to have a very similar problem to the one that EA did with Star Wars.
Yeah.
However, if you go down the Marvel comics, then you can do what the fuck you want. Because there are so many universes, so many different Earths, there's the whole of the multiverse, thousands of characters, you could literally do what you wanted. So I'd rather it be based on that. But, I mean, we don't know anything. If they show... Because the thing is, if it's based on the MCU, is that going to include voiceovers of the actors or fake actors that?
Well, this is the other thing, right?
Or what?
I think we're past accepting a game based on the Avengers having, like you say, not having those voice actors. I think it has to have those voice actors, man.
Well, this is it,
and I don't think it will. But then also, it is a licensed product, so maybe it will.
I don't know. I mean, at least we've got Ultimate Alliance 3 coming out.
Yeah,
that looks amazing, and that's basically just going off and doing whatever it wants. within the comics. So
I mean, to me, this sounds like The Division, but Avengers, and that could still work if you have characters. Like, so, think about it as more of a combination of like Destiny, The Division, and Anthem. You've got an Iron Man character who can fly. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
That could, because if you think about Anthem, like the problem was that it just ended up being a bit boring. But if you got that right, if you got the loot right, if you got the powers right, the variation in character design right, then Anthem could have been a different story. But like the problem was, it was just boring.
We've got to probably assume, because like when you think of Sony Spider-Man, the amount of effort that went into and the upgrades for Spider-Man's movement and combat, that they can't do that for every Avenger in this game because it'd just be too big. So they're mainly going to probably just focus on Thor, I would say, Iron Man, Hulk, and Captain America. Yeah. Because the moment you go out of that, then there's so many more Avengers, so it'd be tricky. So I'm happy for them to focus on just the 4 of them. But I don't want it to be. I don't want it to have the films. I want there to be more freedom than that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. We'll see soon, won't we? Because they're going to. Assuming going to show some of the panel.
What are you going to? Let's have predictions here. I'm going to say it certainly isn't out this year. I'm going to say I think this will be a next gen game. Well, it'll be a cross gen game, and I'm going to say 2020.
I reckon...
I'm going to say June or July 2020.
Quarter... March 2020.
Okay. Before we wrap up this week, I wanted to... Because obviously the next time we speak on this podcast, E3 will be pretty much over the next time you hear us. So a lot will have happened. So it's kind of want to do like a predictions cast section here. And Chris, I want to ask you to give me 3 things you desperately would like to see from E3. Like if you have the ability to click your fingers and have 3 gaming wishes that are announced at E3. The only rules I'm going to give you is it has to be possible. You can't say Sony announced the PS5 and The Last of Us 3 because Sony aren't at E3.
Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. So
where would you go?
The first one is a release date for The Last of Us 2.
I don't think you can have that because Sony aren't there.
No, I know, but oh fuck, I'm not, am I?
No, bollocks. You can't have anything Sony because they aren't at E3. Yeah, well, it's I'm sorry, mate. I've got to enforce the rules.
No, you're right. I keep forgetting. Like, what is going to be there? I'll tell you what.
I can give you some of mine if it's easier, because I had the question, so I have actually thought about it. I haven't just sprung it upon myself like I have you.
I've got one, which I would like a release date, and preferably this year. They would drop this on us for Gears of War 5. I'd like them to be like November 2019.
So again, similar to yourself, my first one is that we get a firm final release date for Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and it's this year. I desperately want that game. I'm going to say the same thing for my number 2. I want an announcement and release date of this year for Animal Crossing Switch.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't think this will happen, but it's, again, I'm clicking my fingers. I want Super Mario All-Stars 2. But it's the 3D games for Switch.
Oh my god.
For Switch. So it's Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, Super Mario 3D World from Wii U, and Mario 64 you may as well throw it in there, and Mario Sunshine as well. I want those games I will pay £100 for that collection on Switch. Just do a little bit of the work so you can play, you can include the motion control for Galaxy 1 and 2, but also make it so you can play it without.
That's a really good shout.
It's not going to happen, but
no, but still, or like a remake for Mario 64. That might be cool.
I think they'll do Galaxy. Well, they have to, so surely at some point they have to. The clamouring for it's got too loud, hasn't it?
I would say so. Like the Mario Galaxy is fucking ace. Like even a third, or just a whisper of a follow up to. Not to Odyssey, just another 3D Mario game.
Yeah.
Because that was so much fun. Go on, what's your third?
No, that was my third. The second was Animal Crossing.
Oh yeah, sorry. God, what else have we got? It is Bethesda. Yeah. Don't care.
Oh no, I do. Really? Wow.
No,
Doom Eternal. That would have been my fourth.
Oh shit, Doom
that's this year because I need that game in my life. Need it in my life. Do you know what? Dishonored 3 because for next gen because I am absolutely in love with Dishonored 2. But I think if they do ever do another game, it's got to look a bit better, man. It's got to.
Right. I never played it properly, but I've got it. But when I went to that press event, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I'm in love with it.
But I just never got around to playing it properly. So maybe I should at some point in the future.
Loving that game.
Yeah.
Can you think of it? Come on, this is gaming Christmas. Right, so anything you want.
Who's going? Well, so Bethesda. Right, Bethesda.
Yeah.
I would like a remake of Fallout 3. Or a better Fallout than 4.
I don't think I could have predicted you saying that in a million years.
I don't think that's going to happen because I think obviously next it's going to be Elder Scrolls, isn't it? That'll be the next focus.
I think they've said they're not going to show that. I think that I've got this in my head that they've said they're not going to talk about Starbound. Or the next Elder Scrolls. Like they've announced them, but they're not going to mention them.
But I just remember rumours of a remake of 3 is like because that is my favourite Fallout.
It's the best one.
Adore it.
That on New Vegas,
and I'd love to see it. Just play it again because it's been so long since I played it. I could barely remember much of it. So that'd be cool.
I'll give you a real left field one, right? You know how Obsidian made that South Park game for Ubisoft, and then Ubisoft made the second one themselves, but they kept that kind of mold.
Yes.
Do you know what I'd love to see in that exactly the same style, an RPG like that? I'd love to see a Simpsons game like that.
Oh, I would. Yeah, I'd love that. Proper, like world to proper Springfield to explore.
Yeah,
that'd be ace. Because what was that one game they did, which you could run around Springfield? It wasn't amazing.
Oh,
but it was quite good, and it had that Grand Theft Walrus in it. That game that.
You're not thinking the Simpsons Hit and Run, the Crazy Taxi style one?
No, I'm thinking of it's just called. I think it's just called the Simpsons game. Where
I don't remember.
It's like it's more or less an open world of Springfield, but not to the extent of like Grand Theft Auto or anything like that.
Because Microsoft have said they've got like 14 first-party games they're going to show. Now, I've got to assume that they're going to show their new console, and a lot of them are going to be like... I think Fable. I think the time for Fable is here. I think Fable 4 is... Or it might actually just be called Fable. But a new Fable game, I think, is happening, personally.
I've just had a few flood into my head. So, Ninja Theory's next project with Xbox. I want to see something materialise there. I want Assassin's Creed Vikings to be announced. I want it to know it's being set in that kind of era. And I would love anything to do with Watch Dogs 3.
I think you'll get that. I think you're going to get that on.
I would love that. You know, because Watch Dogs 2 was amazing.
Yeah, it was a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking the other day about, I think it's because I was playing Void Bastards that I was thinking about like the BioShock games and thinking, I'd love a game like that. But that's what Dishonored is for me, I suppose. It's that single player. You know, I don't know. I'm in a funny place with games at the moment. It's a shame Sony aren't there because I was holding out hope that there'd be some God of War DLC because I'm sure there's bits on that map where it says like you can never access here. And I always said to you that I think that'd be DLC, but it's just
never happens.
Doesn't seem like it's going to happen, does it? It ain't going to happen
now. No.
Oh, well, that's a podcast for this week. You can follow us on Twitter, obviously, at GBSF myself, or at FirstAvenger83 for you, Chris, correct?
That is correct.
And at God is a Geek, of course, we've got some competitions running, or have had them running. I'm losing track of the time-space continuum because, as I say, very ill and cough medicine. But also, just worth mentioning very quickly, you can go to patreon.com/GodIsAGeek. You could just type in God is a Geek Patreon or Patreon, however you want to say it, and you'll probably find it that way as well. But for $1 a month, which basically works out at give or take around about £10 a year, you support what we do, which we're very, very appreciative of and grateful of. And like, I can't say where Chris is going, but he's going somewhere Well, actually, the day this goes live, he will be somewhere because it's Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah. Chris will literally be somewhere that has been funded by our Patreon supporters, and we couldn't be more grateful. They'll be very glad to hear. We'll tell them what it is when we can. But it's enabled us to do lots of stuff over I'm trying to think what the last. Again, I'm not going to lie. We're at the point now where we've been talking for nearly an hour, and my brain's gone to mush through the cold. But you went somewhere recently. And that was also paid for.
To watch a trailer.
Of course. Breakpoint.
Yeah. But no, Days Gone. There was that Days Gone. There was Sekiro.
Mortal Kombat, Sekiro.
Mortal Kombat. There's been a lot of events that we've covered thanks to Patreon.
We simply couldn't afford it without those people. And again, we do give you stuff back for that. We like to give away lots of codes to our supporters on Patreon. So there's free games in it for you. And it isn't a case of we do a raffle. We generally just dump quite a few, and everyone. Our Patreon supporters are wonderful people, and they tend to say, "I'll take one," and I sometimes have to go and say, "Have another one." It's fine. But it's we do that. We give you the podcast early as we possibly can, and we give you more of an insight. We're looking to do some. We know we need to get our video stuff back on track. We know we need to start streaming more. Life has a way of getting in the way sometimes of the things you want to do, because the things you need to do take precedent, don't they, Chris? Like sleeping off a cold.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Again, no listener correspondence this week because this podcast was it's essentially me and Chris saying, we better do a podcast, haven't we, really? Right now. So here we are. That conversation took place an hour ago, and here we are. Again, that Patreon is our lifeblood, and we really, really appreciate the people who help make that lifeblood make us... you keep us going, but just the moral support as well. Even if you don't want to drop a $10 a year or $1 a month, even sharing it and saying, "Hey, I can't do this, but these guys are great." We appreciate the shares and the reviews on iTunes. So, Chris, for now, thank you very much for being on the podcast. Appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
I know you're
no
poorly. I think people can hear I'm poorly, so I'm not even going to. I think it's very obvious. I sound very nasally. And that sniff was just for effect. But everyone else, thank you very much for listening, and we will speak to you next week or whenever you choose to listen. Bye-bye for now.